Welcome back to part 2 of BFB with TPOT style double eliminations. As you may have deduced, the show won't be splitting, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This is the exit as of BFB 8. This is the order of teams being up for elimination so far. And these are the teams as of BFB 8 as well. We have no time to lose, so let's get started. Nothing interesting here. BFB 8 will play out the exact same way as in canon once again. In other words, Ainz and Free Food lose since those were the bottom two teams this episode. Since the events of the episode play out in the exact same way, Stapy would still cheat, therefore getting eliminated. Puffball isn't here to help him, but you could easily replace her with Eraser in this scenario. As for Ainz, safe are Bubble, Ruby, Lightning, Flower, and although it's unclear whether the Stinger would play out or in the same way, Fanny would survive regardless. This means we end up with the same bottom two as Ainz's Canon second elimination, Match and Snowball. I think we all know where this is going, so I'll just skip to the end. After how Match treated Bubble in this episode, she was doomed the next time Ainz lost, no matter what. BFB 9 actually shakes things up somewhat. Allow me to elaborate. In the canon episode, Beep loses because Balloony isn't around to throw the balls into the basket. However, he may well still be alive as a result of BFB 7's change in contest, as his death was a consequence of that, so I'll rule out Beep losing since he'd still be alive. Death Pact was one of the bottom two teams, and since nothing differs about them from canon, they would have last place this time. That said, they only placed 7th because Tree was trapped in Bottle and Remote was dead, both as a result of BFB 7, which has significantly changed in this timeline, so they would probably win earlier. Next are the losers, Team Ice Cube and 8 names, who all finished at the same time. You might say 8 names should lose, but to that I point to the significantly modified BFB 7 as proof otherwise. Loser would probably already be in the exit, and Eggy didn't really lie about anything, so nobody would care about wanting to keep the Jawbreaker away, so Taco never gets crushed. I assume she's who Gady refers to when she says this. If Taco's their specialized thrower, then they would win no problem with her still around. This means it's the losers and Team Ice Cube who lose this episode, as the losers actively sucked, while Team Ice Cube just wasn't fast enough. Since Coiny sucks at throwing, the losers lose first. He also happens to be the first one safe. Followed by Pin, Cake, and Needle. This means it's down to Fiery and Clock for the bottom two. Neither of them have been very relevant up to this point, Fiery especially. However, Fiery would survive off of still having more fans. This means that Clock's time is up. Now to do Team Ice Cube. Safe are Barf Bag, Donut because of his hosting, Spongy because this is before he became despised in BFB 14, Gelatin because he had a good idea for the contest, and Bommy for just doing his best, you know? The bottom two are Fiery Jr. and Naily. Up to the current point, neither of them really did anything in the show. But this also means Fiery Jr. hadn't done anything yet to make himself hated, so he may still be safe. There isn't really anything to add here. I've said a lot already for this episode though, so can you blame me? Oh look, it's time for a double rejoin. It works about the way you would expect. 2 teams win, with each getting 1 rejoiner. Since Fiery was the one who actually got 4 out, the losers still get a rejoiner, that much is obvious. As for the other team, Lollipop isn't here, so Pillow licking her head doesn't count, but the last strategy before that was Bottle playing golf, so it would still be Death Pact. The top 2 most voted are Leafy and Loser. I see no reason that would change. Leafy's still on the losers, while Loser goes to Death Pact. Who will lose in BFB 11? In the canon episode, Ainz loses, but is that still the case here? On the contrary, actually. Dora isn't here, so 8 Names doesn't knock Flower off the side of the stairs before she can press the button, so they get 2nd place after the losers. Next on the stairs were Balloony, Bomby, and Tennis Ball, so their teams are safe as well. Foldy still gets knocked off by Flower, and Pie still gets exploded. Not sure if 8 Names would send Teardrop or Taco, but either of them would make it to the top without issue, so Free Food and Death Pact will be up for elimination. Foldy came closer to hitting the button, so it would be Death Pact losing a member first. And fresh off getting a rejoiner too, how unfortunate. Anyway, safe are Pen, Tree, Remote, Loser, Black Hole, and Pie. The bottom 2 are Pillow and Bottle. Pillow would get voted because people think she's weird and for a lack of screen time outside of that. Bottle would get votes because she can be kind of annoying. However, I think Bottle would survive since some people find her personality endearing, so they would vote Pillow out. We'll get to Free Food after these messages. And we're back. Safe are Fries, Marker, and Bell. The bottom 2 are Eraser and Foldy. Eraser's here because people still aren't over how he would have, in this timeline, assisted Stapy in his cheating. That said, what people are more upset about is how Foldy very nearly caused Ainz to lose, so Eraser would be safe for that, and because he has a much larger fan base thanks to Pen and Blocky. As a result, Foldy folds, crumpled up under the pressure. In BFB 12, only one of the swaps, that being Puffball, is currently out. And that wouldn't affect Ainz and Team Ice Cube being the bottom 2 teams, since Team Ice Cube failed outright, they go first. Their elimination goes the same as Cannon, Sans, Naily, which means that Fiery Jr. is eliminated. As for Ainz, safe are Bubble, Ruby, Fanny, and Lightning. The bottom 2 are Flower and Snowball, but don't be fooled. Given the events of BFB 11 and 12, Snowball would definitely be out in a landslide. No, I did not make a mistake. BFB 14 has no eliminations, so I'm skipping to BFB 15 instead. Which 2 teams would lose, though? No yellow piece means no fake emeralds from his store, so they would lose alongside 8 names, the cannon losers. This team is just dropping like flies, isn't it? Marker is the first one safe. And he is followed by Fries. The bottom 2 are Eraser and Bell. At this point, they're really only here because half of this team is already gone. Bell would get the boot, I think, for the same reason Foley fell to Eraser. His fans targeting her. I don't see them targeting Fries. Also, she has a kind of shrill voice that can get grating, so she has that going against her as well. Safe on 8 names are Ice Cube, Teardrop, and Saw. The bottom 2 are Taco and Gady, who in canon were the 4th and 5th safe, while the bottom 3 there are all out here. Needless to say, canon applies here and Gady gets more votes than Taco. There's nothing left to add here, I don't think. In canon, this is the final episode before the split, but if you can't tell, we aren't doing that here. But we need to choose the losers. We can rule out 8 names and free food since they would both win instantly because they would already be at 4 having just come off of an elimination. Beep, the better namers in Death Pack too because their strategies wouldn't need to change at all. In fact, I think it would just be Ice and Team Ice Cube, the same bottom 2 teams as canon. Also just like in canon, Spongy gets the boots from Team Ice Cube, and in a landslide 22,845 strong, or potentially higher due to Nailly's absence. As for Iance, Safe are Bubble, Ruby, and Lightning. The final bottom 2 of Part 2 are Fanny and Flower. Who will lead? Flower will, and the reason is simple. She was the only one who did anything in the episode because everybody else was too busy being dead, so she would be at the forefront of all the voters' minds. Thank you for watching! Part 3 releases soon, so make sure to subscribe with notifications on.